Hi everyone, my name is Mike Bryan and I'm happy to have here today Stacey and Dylan from Altercare here in Zanesville. Thanks for coming today, appreciate it. And thanks for taking the time. And as you know, you've done these interviews before, but this is a good opportunity for folks to kind of find out a little more information about Altercare, because when you're looking online and trying to figure out all of this, it can be overwhelming sometimes. So I like to try to put a face with the voice that folks will talk to. So we'll just go over some general questions with both of you today and give folks a better feel for Altercare here in Zanesville. So, well, first of all, Dylan, you're the executive director there.
Yep.
So Dylan Stillpepper and Stacey Clark Frame, your admissions coordinator. And not only do you cover here, but also Cambridge and Caldwell. So you have a full plate. So but this is good too. That if anyone's listening to this and they live in that area too, they might be able to talk to you about what's available. But today we're going to focus on Altercare Zanesville. First of all, can you describe where you're located? What's your address?
Yep, so we're at 4200 Harrington Drive, over there off of North Point.
Okay. And what's the best phone number to reach?
Facility number 740-452-4351.
And if someone wants to email, what's your email address, Don?
So mine is my name, dylan.still-pepper at altercareonline.net.
Okay. And then Stacey, what about you? What's a good email for you?
So you can email admissions@altercareonline.net with any questions or to schedule a tour or anything like that.
Okay, perfect. And any other phone number for you, or is the main number?
Yeah,
okay?
My direct number is 740-509-3869.
Okay. And if someone, they can look on their website, altercareonline.com, and there's also links to Facebook and Twitter on there as well. But if someone wants to find out more about Altercare, I know there's a general description of kind of the, what services are available, the general layout. I think I did see a virtual tour option, but so if folks want to do that, they would just call the main number, I assume.
Yep, they can either call the main number or they can call my cell phone and let me know what time they're looking at coming, and we'll have somebody there to show them around.
And who is the typical main contact? So if someone calls in and they just have some general questions, who would they typically be talking to?
If it's about admissions, we try to direct a lot of those towards Stacey, since she's the one who actually works with the hospitals and everything on getting people in. But as far as if people have insurance questions or anything, they can talk to either myself or her.
Okay.
So typically between the two of us, we'll get things covered.
All right. Sounds good. And there's also, again, a contact form online that'll get sent over to you guys as well if they have questions. But I know when I looked on the website, and obviously I've been there before too, but you guys offer skilled nursing, short-term rehab, long-term care, hospice and palliative care, and respite care. Can you just describe us a little bit about what those mean? Some folks may not understand what some of those terms are.
Yep, so long-term care is for those that need to stay in a facility, that need to have that 24/7 care, can't do it at home, don't have the family support, whatever the reason may be. Typically those are either your private pay or Medicaid people. We get a lot of short-term rehab. We have an excellent therapy department, so we got therapy 7 days a week. So those are people who are going to come in there in the Medicare or their replacement plans. People can also pay privately, but that's a little less common when you're coming for the...
Sure.
So Stacey will be the one to be able to do the respite stays, and she can actually set that up, whether it's someone who just has passport services that needs a respite, or also we work with hospice companies as well, because through their hospice they can get respite days as well.
Okay, makes sense. And you mentioned the different therapies. It's occupational, physical, and speech therapies, and like you already said, 7 days a week, so that's can be provided there all the time. That's great. So that gives folks a little idea of what services are available. How many rooms are there at?
So we're a 99-bed facility. We have 14 that are full-blown privates, and then we have the rest that are what we consider them butterfly suites. So it's 2 rooms that are connected, but they have a wall that separates the two, and they just share an entryway with a bathroom. So I always tell people it's the most private you're going to get, unless you go to a facility that's pretty much just been built in the last couple of years.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that's much better than just the curtain that I've seen before.
Yeah.
And so
And with those rooms, the patients still get their own TVs on each side of the rooms, their own cable, their own phones. So they do still have access to those private things as well.
sure, makes sense. So, if someone is looking and they decide they want to come in for a visit, what should they expect? How does that work?
So right now, because of the COVID precautions, just like everywhere else, we try to schedule them a time to come in. They come in our main entrance. They do have to answer the COVID screening questions. Have you traveled outside of the country? Any signs and symptoms of COVID, and then we will check their temperature. We'll give them a mask to wear during their tour, and then we will show them around the facility and to all of our areas, therapy gym, and etc.
And I know when you walk in, there's kind of it seems like a mall area when you come
Yeah.
inside. I always think it's kind of a little downtown feel.
Main Street theme
Yeah,
is what I like to call
Yeah,
it. It's very, very pretty.
And like as you walk down to, there's a movie theater, as I recall, too.
A
So
full movie theater, yeah.
so-
A lot of the times, patients that have young grandchildren or so forth that want to come in, we're able to utilize that area for
Mhm.
them to have a nice visit.
yeah, that's a nice feature. So, after the person has come in, they've done a tour, and they think, okay, this is the place I want to go. I'm sure they're going to have to sign a contract and other paperwork. I know, just like with anything else, there's a lot of paperwork to go through. They can take that with them and look at it at home if they
We actually
want.
have it available electronically now.
Okay, so
So-
that's even better.
We can send it via email. Those go through Stacey, our intake coordinator. Her name is Maya. She'll assist with the residents or the families in the facility on signing that within the first day or so of them being there.
Okay. So they get that signed, and on move-in day itself, what should they expect then? How does that work? I'm sure there's going to be differences from if they're coming from the hospital or coming from home, but if you could describe that a little bit.
So when someone is coming into the facility, very typical, if coming from the hospital is going to transfer you over. The nurses will do a basic assessment over you. They'll go over kind of an inventory of the couple things you might bring. They're going to verify the medication list that they got with either the resident or if there's any families that's there with them. And then we have to actually send all that to our pharmacy. So we actually are blessed to have our own pharmacy, which is just based up in North Canton. So thankfully, when we do have those residents who are admitting for the first time, unlike some places, we're not having to wait a whole day for a med to come in. We actually can get them sent with, typically around the midnight time is when they come for when we do it. So we have the drop shipments available, and that's typically what takes place for those. So you have a much shorter time frame for that medication input than some other
That's
places with having that pharmacy available so close.
Makes sense. That's nice to have that. I've always heard that's been a delay at a lot of places.
Yeah.
So that's
And then kind of going into the next day, our intake coordinator, who I said her name is Maya,
Mhm.
she'll come in and she'll get with the resident to kind of go over their shower preference, get them settled in the room if they need help getting stuff put away, different things like that. She'll have a couple more like kind of your basic consents to go over that aren't really as pressing because move-in day is already a lot going on with the nurse and new surroundings and typically coming in the evening time, so
Sure.
you're already tired after the long day. And she'll get them settled. She'll get them in the shower book. If the family's there, like I said, she'll reach out to them if they're not about getting that paperwork completed, who's going to be kind of responsible, and then we'll kind of go over the contacts to make sure that maybe there's a daughter or a sister or somebody who's missing off the face sheet from the hospital that needs to be on there. So.
And are they able to bring their own furniture, or are there things already there?
So we have the rooms pretty much set up for someone coming short term. They're obviously allowed to bring in their own belongings. Just want to make sure they have things marked and make sure that it gets recorded on their inventory sheet. But when people stay long term, we have a lot of people that we don't really have anything against hang the stuff up on the walls to make it feel cozy.
Sure.
As long as it's not a fire regulation, that's the only time we ever kind of have to say no to it or being a safety hazard for the resident. So a lot of times when you get to the long-term side of things, you see more people kind of bringing their own touches into things.
Makes sense. Well, and one of the questions I get asked all the time too is, what is the cost going to be for this? Obviously, you guys will go over that with them when they come in, but the sources of payment. I mean, they could private pay if they're able to do that, or insurance coverage, or Medicare, Medicaid. with the VA pension program, I know you guys don't have a contract with the health administration, but they can use those funds to help pay for this as well. So, you know, when you're looking at, especially in our neck of the woods, there are a lot of skilled nursing facilities here in the Zanesville area. What are the things, or what's something that sets you guys apart from others?
I feel like our whole, like you said, when you walk into our facility, the first thing you're going to notice is this beautiful Main Street theme. I mean, we have a beautiful barber shop, the movie theater, fine dining, and then when you get onto Medicare.gov and start reviewing our ratings and those sorts of things, you'll see that our ratings are much higher than average for this area, as well as we are a 5-star quality measure facility.
Okay.
Going on over a year and a half.
That's great, and that is. I'm glad you mentioned that too, because that's another source that, because I don't think a lot of people know to look on the governmental websites for ratings and such. They just don't know that that's basically a third party that you can rely on to understand if you're going to have quality care or not.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if someone has other questions about Altercare, I'm sure they can reach out to either one of you. And
absolutely.
That's I think this will be really helpful today. But I can guarantee folks will have other questions once they start thinking about what they want to do. So, well, again, thanks for taking the time to come in today. I do appreciate it, and I know folks out there are going to appreciate it as well. So, again, if you have any other questions, please reach out to Dylan or Stacey, and I'm sure they'll be happy to take care of you. Thanks for stopping by.